So the Board of Education has placed a levy renewal and increase on the ballot this fall. These are difficult times. People have lost their jobs. The unemployment rate is at an all-time high. Is this a difficult ask to ask residents at this time?
Look, it's always a difficult ask in this city. We have the single highest childhood poverty. The mayor said when we went for the first levy, we're asking people to pay for a levy they can't afford. And that is no more true, it's every bit as true today as it was in the past 2 cycles. The candid reality is we have no choice. The levy will expire on December 31st if voters don't have a chance to renew it. And if it expires, it is 12% of our budget, or $67 million, and that means that we will make devastating cuts for the second semester of this year. We will have no choice. So the dilemma that I faced was not should we ask, it was what should we ask. We have not had new money in 8 years. Levies do not increase in their value once voted on, and so they haven't kept up with inflation, which has increased 12% in that period of time. If we were to have asked for just a renewal of 15 mills, even if it had passed, we would have made cuts immediately after it. And it is not fair to Cleveland voters to ask them to renew a levy and then tell them it wasn't enough to do the job. So we are asking for a slight increase of 5 mills. That's about $7 per family for an average home in Cleveland. If it's a $100,000 home, it's about $14, but most homes in Cleveland are median is about $42,000, $43,000. And we know it's a tough ask, but I think what Clevelanders have come to count on is honesty. And the honest answer is we have to ask for something, and if we only ask for a renewal, we're going to cut programs that they expect us to fund right after we told them to keep paying the tax.
And like you just said, these are difficult times, difficult financial times. The state cut the CMSD school budget shortly after the pandemic began, and you've been watching the budget closely. Can you just talk about how going to remote learning and doing all these new things on a dime has affected the CMSD budget?
Yeah, well, as we just said, we were at the end of a levy cycle anyway, which is always the toughest financial time for school districts. It's a cyclic kind of experience where you get more resources on the front and less at the back. So we were already in that space. COVID-19 created all kinds of new costs that we didn't anticipate. The biggest ones were technology. We've spent millions and millions of dollars on buying devices and hotspots, and we'll spend millions more in the coming years to make sure everybody is equipped and that learning system I talked about is in place. We have also had to spend millions of dollars on PPE, not even to open schools, but to operate over the shutdown period. Our people have been back and working and prepping our buildings, and they have to be in masks and sanitized and safe and distanced. We're adding the signage and the plexiglass at contact points so that when you pick up lunches at our meal sites that our staff are safe behind the plexiglass, or if you need something from one of our offices, our secretary and you are safely separated. So between those costs, the PPE costs, the training costs to retool all of our educators, and I mean this as a retraining. This is not how we were taught to teach, and our educators have been amazing and resilient, and I'm so proud of them. But I need our public to understand they're doing this despite the fact that this is not what any of us were taught to do in our profession. And so this is a workforce retraining effort which will take deep investment. So we're spending a lot of resources at the same time that we're seeing deep revenue cuts. We lost $11.2 million from the state over the course of last year and this year. It looks like that may be it, and that would be really great for us if possible. And the governor's really worked hard to keep it as far away from us as he could. But we also could face deep tax delinquencies, people not paying their tax, which would hurt our local revenue. We again have the levy facing us, and we have all of these COVID-related expenses. And so times are going to be tough. This is why, though, we've been advocating that the federal government must have another stimulus package, and it must take care of K-12 education, not just Cleveland or urban schools, but all of us, and cities, counties, and states. The federal government's the only one that can.
Yes, they're the ones that can help us out.